Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today. It is going to be a PvT, Protoss versus Terran, but more importantly, a bot versus bot match. We have got in the top right, TyrT. A bit of a scrapper, and then taking on TyrT is the second highest ranked Protoss bot, which is a big reason why I'm casting this game. Zozo, as I've definitely cast in the past, wasn't super polished if I recall, but still showed a lot of promise, so I thought I'd see how it did against a Terran bot of similar level. We have got yeah, just a bit of a probe scout going out for Zozo, but then it's also sending out another probe just to really double down on that scout, which I like to see. And then we'll keep an eye on where this game's going to go from here. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this game, make sure to go ahead, slap that like button if you haven't already. Let's go for 6 likes on this video. If we can do that, that would be amazing. And then, of course, leave a comment down below that says more bots if you want to see more bots. If you got any favorite bots or anything like that, let me know. And yeah, we see a Reaper on the way for tier. So looking like a pretty standard Reaper expand for the Terran bot, where Zozo is doing the common Protoss thing, which is the double gateway opening in all matchups. Protoss bots, for whatever reason, don't take quick expansions. There's probably a very logical reason for that. A lot of Protoss early game requires a lot of finesse, and so maybe it delays the expansion because it's just so darn hard to get up that expansion safely as a Protoss bot. We do have a battery going up as well, but just gonna be macro on both sides. As I say that, though, it's TyrT. I thought it was floating the money to build a command center. Instead, it just elected to throw down an extra racks in a factory. Looks like my enter button got stuck for a second there. I apologize. Razer keyboard. And then we have got, yeah, just still constant scouting by both these bots. The Reaper is on the way out, or Reaper is on the way into Zozo's base, but there is one Stalker out that should be more than enough to push this away. And it looks like the Reaper's just completely in scouting mode for tier, not even firing a single shot. And then we've got another Rax or two going up for tier, so going incredibly aggressive this game up against a Protoss bot that has elected to expand. I'm excited to see whether Zozo will be able to hold on against the potential harassment of tier. Well, not harassment, but the potential big attack. We've also got tier with a high ground bunker, so it's playing it incredibly safe. And here I was at the start of this game talking about how Protoss bots tend to delay their expansion. Well, this Terran bot has delayed its expansion big time. It's getting up a siege tank, getting up a tech lab and a reactor, so probably just going to be a big old tank push, I imagine. We'll see if Zozo's able to intercept that at all. But for now, though, Zozo will start to shoot ahead in the economy. And so time will be of the essence for tier. With Stimpack on the way, it's going to be at least 2 minutes before it attacks on in. We've got the Robo on the way now for Zozo. That's about to finish up, so we'll see whether it's going to be an Observer, an Immortal, a Warp Prism. What tech does Zozo elect to do? If I recall now, Zozo was a bit of a bot that did tend to attack on in without perfect logic, like sending in like 6 Stalkers at a time, if I recall. So we'll see if Zozo's going to do that again. It is moving out, though. Scouting out again, interestingly enough. Just really wants to know what's coming its way. An attack, though, could very well be risky, particularly if it goes up a ramp into all this bio into a siege tank. Defensive would be the name of the game for the Protoss bot in this case. But it all depends how much how Zozo scouts out. If Zozo sees the lack of a natural base for tier, will it say, okay, I'm not going to attack, or is it gonna full send anyway? It does see, well, it doesn't see much before that probe gets deleted. does see a lack of expansion, but oh boy, here we go. Bots don't think, guys. This is part of the problem with bots. 7 Stalkers moving across the map for the Protoss bot with that Prism. And it's going to be attacking into oh so much bio for the Terran. And I'm already getting a little bit concerned here. We see an SCV moving down that ramp, but Stalkers are eating big shots, and they are just simply getting deleted. It is brutal out here for these Protoss Stalkers, as there was 7, now there's 2, now there's none, and that was just horrendous. And it just goes to show that while it takes a lot of work programming your bot to do calculations based on your opponent's status is very important, there's times in which a 7 Stalker attack would work. That definitely wasn't it. And just attacking on in at the front like that definitely wasn't it either. We see an Immortal is now on the way for Zozo, so it's at least getting some bigger units. It's just waddling across the map, but TyrT's just making more and more stuff, so I'm already getting a little bit concerned for the Protoss bot. It is getting up a 3rd Nexus, so its economy is real darn good, but everything else is, as far as the unit control, does leave some things to be desired. We see those 3 Stalkers get deleted immediately, and oh man, I'll be honest, bots like this do make you appreciate the absolute best bots and how much work has been put into them to make them play so well. And Zozo seems to have really good fundamentals, but as far as unit control, it needs some work. As TyrT's strategy just works perfectly against it in this case. And now with TyrT's taking the natural, maybe Zozo can skirmish a bit, but it's still 28 supply against 46. The Prism just keeps going back and forth, watching Protoss units die. It's like, what's 3 Stalkers gonna get done here? We shall see. Maybe a dead Marine? Do we have a dead Marine? Looks like there's the 2 tanks sieged up now, so these units are not going to get too much done, and that's the thing. I think just like a simple change that Zozo could make to its units would be to just evacuate the injured ones, but it hasn't been doing that. It's just like, it's just dropping Stalkers to their death when they're out of shields, that kind of thing. Now, we do have a 4th on the way for Zozo, so it's going for a cracked out economy. TYR getting up that natural base. Now got a 3rd command center on the way, so it's sitting pretty in Economic City. And then, yeah, Zozo just going to attack on in again. A few Immortals, but there's just too much bio here for the Terran. They may be able to get like a unit and then evacuate. If the Immortals can stay alive, that would be nice. Thankfully, they're tanky enough to get out of there. Possibly wait to regen their shields, get that battery, get that shield overcharge. Barrier off cooldown. The Protoss bot getting up more gateways, getting +1 attack as well, so it is at least researching upgrades. Okay, Zozo got the 3 Immortals, possibly getting joined by a 4th. 4 Immortals are no joke. This is a lot of bio, however. If it took a fight without the siege tanks, it's like, alright, maybe it can get some decent trades, but as far as walking into all these tanks goes, that is not it. I mean, it's actually getting some decent trades off this time around. I mean, I think like the previous game that I cast, it was just so horrible. But this time it's actually doing pretty well for itself with all the micro and whatnot. Stalkers are being microed with the Prism. I imagine this is what the bot author had in mind when they programmed the AI. Getting some trades off, evacuating those Immortals, Stalkers poking forward, getting lifted up in the Prism. That's really good to see. So getting some okay trades. The problem is the Terran is getting up a 3rd base, and this strategy of Zozo doesn't scale too well, I believe. We are seeing a Stargate on the way for Zozo, so I like to see that. Stalkers shooting away on some of these Marines again. Like, this trade efficiency is looking a lot better all of a sudden. The siege tanks even unsieging. It's going to allow for more opportunity there. The tanks have to resiege. And yeah, this is way better for Zozo. We've now got shields on the way, so those units are going to be a bit tougher. Void Rays being produced too. Stalkers getting pulled back, microed back. Immortals are getting some shots off, however. The Terran army is getting whittled down a little bit by a little bit, and the trades are by no means perfect, and there's a long way to go for Zozo as far as making up for the early game trades. It's still got a really good economy, though. Is it going to take a 5th base? That would be cool to see. Zozo may be one of those bots, too, that never takes more than 4 bases, as it is already on 4 bases, and it's yet to get up another expansion. Still constantly trading out with these Terran units, and Tyr is making 11 Marines at a time, but Zozo is just trading out non-stop with this. The tanks are being repaired, so that's cool to see Tyr having that programmed into it. The bio actually stims that time, so that's a lot of HP lost on those bio units. Baiting out the stims is a very effective strategy. We see a tank siege, unsieged, doesn't get a shot off, even though it would one-shot all these injured stalkers. The Immortal still being saved in the Prism. Very cool to see. This one Immortal got 9 kills, the other one got 7. That's not too bad. Even the Void Ray coming on in. Void Rays aren't the best against Marines, but everything helps. We've now got Tyr making Vikings. It is getting up to 4 bases, however, so the Terran's production is really, really taking off. The Terran units are falling down in supply compared to the Protoss, though. That's not the best trade, though. The Immortal getting some shots off. 7 Stalkers being made at a time, just walking across the map, taking the long way. The bio stims once more, trying to chase down that Void Ray. It does get it. Of course, that stim eats into the HP with no Medivacs. The Siege Tank gonna get killed off, it seems, so that's the last tank dead for Tyr, and now it's just bio against Stalkers in a Prism, and the trades are really darn efficient here for the Protoss. Is Zozo actually going to win this game, potentially? I was getting sad casting it the first few minutes, but this is looking way, way better, as Tyr is investing in all sorts of tech, getting all kinds of upgrades and extra bases. Dealing with this Protoss army, though, is being quite a challenge. The Prism is getting some good efficiency. There was another tank, but that goes down, and the Terran is really just running out of units, trickling on in units here. The Marauders really overstim themselves there as well, and now SCVs may have to be pulled, but there's just no supply left for Tyr, and I think Zozo may have done it somehow after that god-awful start. It just goes to show how, like, strategies can work at times or they cannot work, and it's just as simple as that. There's no thought behind this strategy. Zozo doesn't say, alright, I'm going to do this strategy if my opponent moves out and takes the natural base. Instead, it just happened to work out like that. If Tyr had maybe turtled a bit more, got more siege tanks, would have looked a lot better for Tyr, but in the end, Zozo able to show us why this is the second rank Protoss bot. The micro is pretty darn good when it works out. On my wish list for it is another expansion for it to take more than 4 bases. I believe I saw Zozo versus Ketrok bot, in which we had a similar start, but it just never got better like this game. This bot is trying to build a cannon there too, but it's just not happening. Is it gonna happen? Nope. Probe says, I want to mine. Custom mining AI getting in the way. Anyway, Zozo still breaking down the natural of Tyr. Tyr's not really mining much. It's now shedding a Tyr as it's lost its natural. It's lost its third. It's losing all the units as it trickles them out. Bad rallies there, it seems. One Viking gets produced, and yeah, I think that's going to be that. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this one, make sure to go ahead and slap that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Join the Discord, which is linked down below. And if you want to see more of these bot games, go ahead, leave a comment saying more bots, more boats, whatever it may be. And then consider becoming a YouTube member if you do want to support these almost daily casts on the channel. All that tech that Tyr invested in, all that production, not going to do it any good, as it just didn't make enough units there for a brief period.